Hello, welcome to an Old World Battle Report. I'm here with Ivan. You may know Ivan from the BAO videos. He was at the top table in the final round. He's an excellent local player. We're playing open battle today, and he has brought his High Elves, which is a cavalry list with a dragon. I'm bringing my version of Gobstar for Orcs and Goblins, and on paper, I think I should have a very favorable matchup here. So if I lose this match, it's probably because Ivan is a lot better player than I am, but we'll see how it goes. We'll be back in a second with deployment. For the Orcs and Goblins list, we have a unit of skirmishing goblins. They may look like they have bows, but those are actually goblin fighting sticks that count as a hand weapon and shield. Behind them, we have 7 squig hoppers, a mangler squig, a unit of night goblins. These are not spears, these are actually hand weapons. 3 fanatics, a musician, and a champion. Back there we have a Doom Diver. Up here, here's the Gobstar itself. 69 goblins with bows, poison banner on the standard. We have 4 characters in it. One is a elementalism orc shaman with lore familiar and power scroll. We have a Wa caster night goblin with 4 fungus wines. We have another elementalism goblin caster with the glow green amulet, and we have the BSB war banner with Night Goblin Big Boss with the Ruby Ring of Ruin. Back in that corner, we have another Doom Diver. Oh, guy got knocked over. And another Mangler Squig. Here are another 11 goblins in skirmish formation with goblin fighting sticks. And 7 more Squig Hoppers. And back in that corner, a Rock Lava. All right, we're going to start off with Ivan's list. Over here, we have the unit of Skirmishing Illyrian Reavers. Next up, we have a big bus full of Silver Helms. There is a wizard in there with battle magic, and behind the mountain over here, we have a dragon. This is the defensive build dragon, 2 up, 5 up, 5 up. Another unit of skirmishing Illyrian Reavers. A unit of dragon princes. There's a noble in there. A great weapon, 2 opal amulets, and another unit of dragon princes. All right, the High Elves have won the roll-off for first turn since they had much smaller deployment, and all they have done in the strategy phase is to cast Oaken Shield on the bus. All right, there were no charges, and there's no compulsory moves, so we're on to the remaining move saves, and there's quite a lot to talk about here. So first off, the dragon. How did the dragon end up here? Well, it flew with its first move in a march move in front of the Silverhelm bus, in line of sight of the wizard who cast Arcane Urgency on it, which gave it a second move, which moved it all the way over here. The bus moved forward. The Reavers moved forward over there. Are they still in skirmish? They're still in skirmish, just very small distances apart. These marching column Dragon Prince columns can move very far and very maneuverably because their wheels are so tight. So this one moved forward. The Reavers moved forward to screen it so it can't charge with Impetuous. And the second Dragon Prince bus moved over here. All right, there were no shooting and no combats, so on to the strategy phase for the Orcs and Goblins. First off, I drank fungus wine, so they are immune to psychology. Cast a whole bunch of spells, most of them failed. So I did get Earthen Ramparts off, so they have Earthen Ramparts. And 2 Itchy Nuisances and a Plague of Rust, and another cast of Earthen Ramparts all failed or were dispelled. So that was it for the Conjuration phase. Charge phase. The only thing I had to worry about is that these goblins were within 10 inches of the Silverhelms, but thankfully they passed their impetuous check, so I did not charge them. Compulsory moves. So the Squig Hoppers moved up along the edge of the board. The goblins will go up and cover them in a second. The Mangler moved up behind the hill, so nothing can have line of sight on the Mangler. This Mangler moved over here behind these goblins, and these Squig Hoppers moved over here towards the Reavers. Remaining moves phase. So I used the Power Scroll to try to get off this critical travel mystical pathways. And I did, but Yvonne used the Sigil of Assyrian. So it got dispelled, which is really unfortunate. So that puts me in a very awkward angle. The problem is he has multiple units, and he can probably overcome my static res and win combat. That'll mean I will at least fall back in good order. And if I do that, I probably would have gone off the board. So I have to turn my unit so that if I fall back in good order, I don't instantly die. So I have taken a reform action instead to pivot my unit this way so that they can go through that Doom Diver and go over there somewhere. To also make that space, I march moved these guys in marching column up onto the hill. These goblins moved over here. And these goblins moved over here in order to do a redirect on the Illyrian Reavers, so that if he does want to charge the goblins, they will go face the rock. All right, we have quite a complex shooting phase here. So for starters, they shot all their arrows at the dragon, got all 69 shots at it, and did 2 wounds. Not bad considering it's still 2 up, 5 up, 5 up. I did not reduce its toughness or anything at all. Um, then I have my artillery, so I had 2 shots on the dragon. One of them hit, and he used his Opal Amulet, rolled a 1, but made the regen save. So, and then the other one also hit, I think, right? And oh no, one of them flew off into a field over there, and one of them hit a dragon prince, and he rolled a 6 up ward, so his dragon armor just shrugged off a boulder. Then I had a bunch of spells. Basically, I got 1 Summon Elemental Spirit here. I was trying to cast 2 of them and combining them together to form a wall of line of sight blocking so he couldn't charge me, and that would require some luck with the scatters, obviously. Didn't work, so one of them's there. Foot of Gork is up there. Think I missed anything? No, I think that's it. Strategy phase for the High Elves. So first off, the Summon Elemental Spirit moved not at all, eventually got dispelled. The Foot of Gork moved over here, clipped the Reavers, killed 4 of them. The remaining one did not panic, so he's sitting there in front. I deployed Fanatics, 3 Fanatics there, 3 Fanatics there. A lot of positioning to try to make his charges as painful as possible. And he cast Oaken Shield on himself. Charge moves. So he had 5 units that could charge this turn. He elected, well, first off, he rolled Impetuous with his Dragon Princes. They passed. They did not have to charge, so he left them behind along with that 1 Reaver. These Dragon Princes charged. They hit 1 Fanatic on the way in. That Fanatic killed 4 Dragon Princes, which was pretty painful. These Silver Helms and the Dragon both charged in. Oaken Shield there. The Silver Helms hit 1 Fanatic on the way in, which you could see just there in the corner. They lost 2 Silver Helms on the way in, but this is diabolical. So he could not make flush contact with me because the butt of this unit goes back so far that it was going to hit the rock. So he created a disordered charge. I had to close the door with him to align. Now, you can see here, that creates a much worse angle. So if I have to fall back in good order, uh, I am in serious danger of running off the board. And this was completely intentional. He saw this from the beginning, and knew that he had this like big awkward unit and used it to his advantage. So, hats off to Yvonne here for planning that out. That's actually kind of brilliant. But we'll see how it goes. Compulsory moves phase. So we had 3 Fanatics here. 2 of them went through the Silver Helms and the Dragon and popped out over here. They did 1 wound to the Dragon. It still had full saves and full toughness, so wasn't really optimal, but it did kill 3 Silver Helms on the way in, so they're dead now. And then 1 went over here, and I took a risk on this, but I rolled 5 hits, and it took out both Dragon Princes, so I am no longer flanked. That's nice. The ones over here, one of them killed itself, and the other 2 didn't go far enough. That may have been a mistake. I put them there because I thought he would just smash those Night Goblins with the Dragon Princes and kill them potentially, so I wanted to prevent the charge. Talking it through with Yvonne later, he might not have actually done that, so I may have just wasted my Fanatics there, but anyway, that's why I did it. Remaining moves phase. This Reaver went over here just to make the potential loss of combat even more painful for me. So now, as soon as I even go 1 inch, I'll just run off the board. His Knight is Dragon Princess over there did a crazy little wheelie woo around the board because you can do crazy maneuvers when you're only like 2 bases wide in marching column, and got over there. The Reavers moved over sideways, trying to bait my Impetuous out with the Goblins, and that would be it. Combat between the Gobstar, the Dragon, and the Silver Helms. So I'm not going to go through every single attack here. The Goblin Elementalism Wizard managed to crack the dragon and actually do a wound through all of its saves with his staff. I challenged with the unit champion who fought a duel with the Silverhelm unit champion, who ended up making his ward save, right? His Oaken Shield. He almost killed him, actually, because the Silverhelm completely whiffed. Hammerhand went off, did a bunch of damage. My wizards all attacked with their staves. He targeted at the BSB with the dragon. Anyway, pretty good showing for the goblins, made some ward saves, but there's no way you can deal with a first charge, losing your rank bonus and losing your BSB with the multi-charge. So I lost combat. I rolled, so I lost combat by 8. And I'm going off of base leadership 8 from the odd knob there because I lost my leadership bonus from the ranks. But because it's losing combat by 8, that meant that in order to give ground, I needed a Snake Eyes. I rolled a Fabigo instead, but you can see I have to flee away from the Silver Helms here. So, and then, the Reaver's in the way, the Doom Diver's in the way. So there was basically, as soon as I rolled that Fabigo, there was basically no way I was going to live. There was like a very small window where I could have rolled like a 2 or a 3 and gone sideways or something, but didn't happen. So the block's dead. We'll move it off the board, and I'll show you the follow-up in a second. All right. So the dragon chose to take the overrun, rolled a 13 or 14, but that was enough to get up here with the Doom Diver. So I had the crew come out and fight it, and the Silver Helms passed their reformed restraint check and reformed facing that way. Compulsory moves. Okay, so first off, let's talk about the squigs. So the Mangler and the squig hoppers have moved here behind the rock because of what's going to go on with his charges on that turn. I'm going to move the goblins in a second during the remaining moves phase. Oh, and by the way, I have no strategy phase and I chose no charges. They passed their impetuous check because everything's dead. Anything that would have done something in the strategy phase is now dead. Moving over here, these squigs are moving on over this direction. So the hoppers are there, the manglers up there. Then for the fanatics, they kind of moved around a bit. These ones are really in the way of the silver helms. And that one actually moved way over here and went through the dragon and killed the reaver, killed the last reaver and did a wound to the dragon. So the dragon's down to 4 wounds. Remaining moves phase. So the goblins moved over here. So the lead goblin is the one that either the reavers or the dragon princes would have to charge, which I think would set things up awkwardly so that it might be a problem for him with these squigs lurking. We'll see what happens on that turn and if I did that right. And then these guys took a turn action, but otherwise stayed on top of the hill. And these goblins moved up here. That's it. Shooting phase. This Doom Diver shot up here into the Dragon Princes. I actually scattered the Doom Diver onto the character in there, but he lookout served him. It hit a Dragon Prince, punched through his armor, and he rolled a 6-up Dragon Armor again. So he saved another Dragon Prince. They just can't be hurt by stone throwers. This one rolled a misfire, and it rolled the one where it takes a wound and can't fire next turn. So it's down to 2 wounds. And unsurprisingly, the dragon killed the Doom Diver and passed its leadership check to restrain and reform. So it's pointed this way, set up for a good points collection next turn. Strategy phase for the High Elves. All they did was cast Oaken Shield back on the Silver Helms. So the dragon took a charge on the Doom Diver, failed his terror check, and so it started running away. Redirected his charge into the Squig Hoppers, which it just barely could make through the gap here. I got again. I didn't realize I was trying to keep them in a good position from the Silver Helms and the Reavers, and I didn't realize that the dragon could sneak in there. The Dragon Princes passed their impetuous check. The Reavers took the charge, so we ranked up on each other here. That's it. Compulsory moves, the Fanatics just kind of moved around a little bit. 2 of them doubled out, and they're dead. So those 3 are still left. Remaining moves, the the Dragon Princes took a reform over there. Silver Helms moved forward slightly. There's just too many Fanatics here, so they are taking it pretty easy until the Fanatics spin themselves out. Shooting phase, all we got here is the spells coming out of the Archmage with a Ruby Ring of Ruin and a Fireball, both on the Mangler. Did 3 wounds to it. It's down to 1 wound. Combat with the Reavers versus the Goblins. The Goblins killed 1 Reaver, the Reavers killed 3 Goblins, but Goblins don't have good leadership, so they fled, and the Reavers are going to run them down. So we'll move the models and see where they end up. And the Reavers ended up here after a 5-inch flee. Dragon versus the Squig Hoppers. They killed them all, and we're going to see if he chooses to overrun or what. So the Dragon took the overrun, but did not make it to the Rock Lava, and elected to actually take a reform check, passed it, and pivoted that way. Orc and Goblin strategy phase, the only thing I have to do is take the rally check, which they failed, so they're going to probably run off the board during the compulsory phase. Compulsory moves. The Mangler went in there on the Reavers. The Fanatics spun around, 1 more died from doubles. The Hoppers went over here, they rolled pretty badly, and then the Mangler rolled at 10 inches, and probably the safest thing I could do was to just try to get behind the hill, so it's at least now out of charge range from the Dragon Princes and out of Ruby Ring line of sight from the Silver Helms with the mage in it. Remaining moves phase. Couldn't really think of anything useful to do with the goblins, so they're still sitting on that hill, taking that +1 combat res from defending the crest. And the goblin skirmishers went over on the side here, still at a charge range of the Dragon Princes. Combat between the Mangler and the Reavers. The Mangler just completely ran them over, killed them all with the impact hits, took the 7 inches of overrun, attempted to reform at the end of the overrun, but failed leadership 4. So it's going to be pointed that way. High Elf strategy phase. He recast Oakenshield yet again. Charges. The dragon went in here on the Mangler, made the roll, and then these units both charged the Night Goblin unit on the hill. The Dragon Princes went through the Fanatic on the way in, and 4 of them died. So we're only down to 3 dudes in that unit, the hero and 2 Dragon Princes. But yeah, this is probably not going to go all that well for the Night Goblins. The dragon versus the Mangler Squig. The dragon just killed it on the charge, and it reformed and faced that way, which means that the Rock Lava is going to get 1 shot to take the final 4 wounds off the dragon before it dies. This combat, so they did a lot of damage to the goblins, as you can see about that giant pile of dead bodies. Really what it came down to, he tried to challenge me. I retired with the champion, which means that I was at leadership 4. He has first charge, because this is the first time that those cowardly dragon princes have actually gotten into combat this entire game. So I had no rank bonus, so I was on LD4, but he didn't double outnumber me. So I rolled a 4, which is a fallback good order. So I'm not quite going to just get overrun, and maybe my squigs could do a little bit of damage. Yep, this combat here, so this is where we ended up. They only went back 3 inches on their fallback good order. They had to flee away from the Silver Helms, so they kind of backed up into this Mangler Squigs. The Mangler Squig is not going to do a whole lot useful on its turn, but the Hoppers will at least be able to come into the flank. We'll see how that goes. Compulsory moves. The Fanatics, this guy moved over here, the other one died. The Hoppers went in, but unfortunately they're not 3 inches away, so they won't get any impact hits. And this guy can't wheel at all. So there's really no point in trying to lumber him sideways, because then he'd just get flank charged when the goblins die. So I guess he just sits there. It's the best I can come up with. For remaining moves, the only thing I did was move my goblins 4 inches. They failed their march block test. Shooting phase. There was a chance. There's a chance that this Rock Lava, if I rolled a hit and then I got through all of his saves, and I rolled a 3 on the D3 +1, I could have done 4 wounds to it. It just misfired instead, and it rolled a 6, so it can't fire this turn. And we know how that's going to go. All right, this combat. So my really only hope here was the Squig Hoppers piling into the side. No impact hits hurt. I had them all attack the wizard in the hopes that I could pick up some victory points, but they didn't roll that well. Oh, also, here's the thing. Since it was fallback good order last turn for 3 inches, they all got charge bonuses, which meant that the side rank here, which is the wizard and that other Silverhelm, could attack into the Hoppers before they got to go, because they got a +3 initiative on the charge. So they actually killed 3 of the Hoppers before I could attack. I only got to hit back with 3 Hoppers, did 1 wound to the wizard, did not really accomplish much. And then the front rank here just annihilated the goblins again. Everybody fled. Those goblins are dead. You can just pick them up. That's where they got run down. He ended up running over, or trying to pursue, but ending up in the Mangler with the Silver Helms, which meant that these guys get to escape. Their leadership terrible, so they're probably going to run off the board.
Reform to see if we're facing that way.
Yeah, and he's going to reform right now. Okay. All right, it's going to be the top of the top of 5, I think, for the High Elves. So we know what's going to happen. They're going to run off the board most likely. They're going to overrun into that Mangler with 1 wound. They're going to go kill the goblins. The dragon kills the Rock Lava, and that's going to do it. So complete tabling. Thanks for the game. We'll do a little bit of after action report here in a sec. All right, so we're going to do the debrief. What we've done is we've actually reset some of the units, because we want to talk through the beginning of the game. So this is roughly where the Gobstar started. Here is his unit of Silver Helms, and there is his dragon. And you can explain this, kind of what the deployment comes down to with your Silver Helms and your dragon.
So the idea behind actually winning against the Gobstar is that I need to bring the Brick of Silver Helms into the Gobstar. The dragon is nice there because that's combat res, but the dragon is never actually going to win that combat. He's just going to take a lot of wounds on the stand and shoot reaction.
I've got too much combat res
Yes,
in my unit. Yeah.
not winning it's on his own. He's only winning it because they are there.
Because the silver helms are in, yeah.
Dragon princes in this equation are not good enough because they don't have enough wounds to survive fanatics. The idea behind dragon princes is dragging fanatics away from this unit so that maybe dragon princes die, but this unit makes it in. This unit made it in, the dragon made it in, and this is why the Gobstar died.
That's why it died. So what I needed to do is, as Yvonne explained to me, the Gobstar needs to be deployed somewhere that both of those units cannot reach it quickly. So, you know, given that I do have more drops, probably what I needed to do was leave just a lot of space here, multiple places to put the Gobstar. Tried to put down, you know, manglers and hoppers and skirmishing goblins. And then once I finally bait out his positioning, I put the Gobstar really far away from it, like in the corner. Like if he was in here, I'd like put it in the corner here behind the hill or something like that. And then that would have given me multiple turns to like chip down the dragon with rock lavas and doom divers, and made it harder for him to set up that double charge, which is ultimately what kills the Gobstar. So obviously, you know, other positioning things like having my doom diver too close was a problem, but that was more of like a symptom that made things worse. The core problem was the fact that I could get charged by both the silver helms and the dragon on the same turn.
Yes,
I think. Yeah.
Yes. A very important thing is that you didn't expect the dragon to be this far up because of Arcane Urgency.
I didn't expect that. That's true.
It's a great tool, but I have to keep in mind I only have one cast of it, so I can only have one unit make it way ahead of where it can naturally, and everyone else has to kind of use their own movement to get to places, which means that I can't have 2 units fly 20 inches up the board. That's the way it is. So,
well, anyway, yeah, we'd love to play this game back again at some point. Now that you know, we've both learned from it, especially me. So yeah, we might do that at some point. But anyway, thanks for coming over today. Appreciate the game. Learned a lot, and tune in next time.